Hey guys! So I'm going to be talking today about the DevaCurl class I did on Tuesday. We had a rep come in to the salon and do a product knowledge class. It went really well. I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons because there are definitely some cons of this line, and I'm just going to go through and talk about each individual product as well as what the Curly Girl handbook and the DevaCurl is kind of all about, because it really is a new way of thinking and treating curly hair. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the line, the author from the Curly Girl handbook actually created this line, and what it's all about is really putting moisture back in the hair and really embracing your natural curly hair that you have. And really it talks about all different types of curls that you can have. There's like swavy, there's wavy, there's corkscrew, there's like really all of you stylists and curly girls out there, pick up this handbook because it is full of information. So also their products are silicone free, paraben free, and sulfate free. So I don't know if you guys are like me, but when it comes to shampooing, when I see suds, I think my hair is clean. And sometimes even when I have a stylist or a client in the sink, I actually will give them 2 shampoos if I don't see enough suds. So in this line, you're not actually going to see suds. The only time you're going to see suds is with the DevaCurl No Poo, which is just, I think the little names are so cute. The No Poo shampoo, or the cleanser as they'd call them. Then you'll see some lather once you start rinsing, and you'll only see lather when you can see the buildup actually coming out of the hair. That is the lather. So there's the DevaCurl No Poo, and then there's the DevaCurl Low Poo. I think there's actually another one as well, but these are the ones that my rep gave me. This one is very cream based, and this one will have a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of sudsing, but not a lot. When it comes to shampooing with the DevaCurl line, they say to only cleanse the scalp and then do the opposite with the conditioner, and you're only going to condition the ends. So I don't know, when I shampoo my hair, I have hairspray from root to end in this thing, let me tell you. And I like to cleanse the entire thing. But what their theory is when you're rinsing, the actual shampoo kind of dribbles in through the ends and cleanses it all. If this is true, I'm not entirely sure. I actually haven't used this stuff on myself, but I used it on my sister. That's a whole different story. So that is the No Poo and the Low Poo, and like I said, they're paraben, silicone, and sulfate free. Then there is also the conditioners that come with it. This is the DevaCurl 1 condition, and then there's this DevaCurl, it's kind of like a hair mask. It's an intense moisture treatment. When it comes to conditioning, you actually do a good condition, and you make it slippery. You make it slippery, slippery wet, and slimy looking. You don't actually give them a massage or anything. You're just putting in through the ends. And when you see that kind of noodle S-wave come through, you know that it's conditioned enough, and you start bringing it up and away from the scalp when they're in the sink or when you're in the shower. You kind of just pull the curls apart. And so you rinse that, give it a quick rinse, and then you put in another conditioner and you leave it in. With my sister, I kind of cocktailed the 2 together, rinsed it, and then just put in the DevaCurl 1 condition. I should mention as well that my sister has crazy ringlety curls, like the cover of this magazine, okay? So that's what you do when it comes to conditioning. And then there's a whole product line to help support that curly-haired client or curly-haired self. There is the DevaCurl Aim Gel, so that you can put in, and everything that you put in when you're at the sink or when you're still in the shower. And they tell you actually not to, when you get out of the shower, normally we kind of like scrunch our hair. Us curly girls will scrunch it or scrunch it up in a towel. You're not actually supposed to do that. You're supposed to leave it sopping wet, like dripping, dripping with sweat. And they tell you to use a lot of this, like a good handful, you know, sort of thing, and put it all throughout, and just like go like this sort of thing, and just, you know, so you're not actually scrunching it in, you're just kind of gently caressing it in, if that makes any sense. And also this is the Believe In. This is the Curl Boost and Volumizer. And then there's the DevaCurl Mirror Curls. I should probably do this a little bit slower. And then there's the DevaCurl Mr. Right. So this is something that you would mist in your hair day 2 when you wake up, just to refresh it or whatever. And this is the DevaCurl Set It Free. So this is like a moisture lock spray. Packaging is really, really nice. Okay, so that's everything. Everything smells really, really good in this line. Yes, it's sulfate, paraben, all that. That's all great and dandy. Now, this is the thing. I feel like, and I'm not sure if the rep that was actually educating us was super knowledgeable on what was going on. In her defense, I think it takes 2, 3, 4, 5 classes to really, you know, get the hang of it. I mean, this is just something I learned in an hour, you know? So I don't even know if I'm saying this right. The thing is with this line is I think you use product overload. Like, really, I think you could get away with using a quarter of the amount. And what this woman was telling us is that you're using a palmful, right? So you're putting in this gel and you're doing the scrunching, and then you want to air dry it. Put clips in it like this, you know, like those little pin curl clips, and set them under a dryer or use a diffuser. The DevaCurl has this diffuser. It's actually really neat. It looks like a little hand that you put on the end of your blow dryer. That's not in Canada yet. They're trying to get that approved. And so you just let it dry naturally. You never, I mean, you don't want to ever take a blow dryer and do this to curly hair, not unless you are trying to wear it like me, smoother or whatever. Okay, so I think you use product overload. It felt like we used way too much product, and from a consumer's point of view, I think something like this shampoo, a client, if they're washing their hair every 2-3 days, is going to go through this in like 3 weeks. That's not, you can't ask your clients to buy a new shampoo every 2 or 3 weeks. Because, well, in this economy, people aren't buying a lot of products. That's just from my standpoint. And also, this isn't exactly cheap, you know? It's not on the cheaper side. So, and from my professional opinion, I thought you could get the same effect just using quarter of the amount. But this woman said, oh no, you use this much because you're trying to lock the moisture in. Okay. So I asked my sister how it felt after. So there's like a serum you use, there's a gel you use, there's a leave-in you use, there's a mist you use. She said her hair felt greasy. And I thought her curl looked beautiful. It was shiny, it was glossy, it was just this beautiful bouncy curl. But excuse me, but then when I actually did touch it, you know, after it was dry and I was just kind of smoothing it out with a serum, it felt greasy. And clients want their hair to feel healthy, shiny, and clean. They don't necessarily want a crunchy, this wasn't crunchy, but this was definitely greasy feeling. And the next day I talked to my sister, I said, how did it feel the next day? She said she felt like a disheveled poodle. Like, she said it was awful. And for my sister and I, especially my sister, we're horse riders, and especially my sister who's out there, you know, cleaning stalls and bringing the horses in and out, whatever, you were around dust, horse hair, all that. That ain't, you know, that it just seemed like it would just go to her hair. So I really think that it's product overload. I think you get away with quarter of the amount. Like I said, I thought that it was a beautiful, beautiful curl, but I just don't think that it's necessary to use that much. And also, I think that this is something that is really specific to curly hair clients. Where I live, where I work, my salon, we don't really have the demographic for that. And I think a lot of times too, like with this Curly Girl handbook, it shows you how you should be cutting the hair, and they say the #1 rule for a curly girl is that your hairstylist should be cutting your hair dry. Here's my theory on that. Yes, I'm a firm believer in cutting curly hair dry if your client or yourself only wants to wear their hair curly, because as soon as you smooth that curl out, or you straighten it, or you put a loose wave in it, whatever, you're going to see chop lines in the hair. Because what this handbook is telling you is that you're literally picking up each curl, snipping, snip, snip. It's going to look like a lawnmower went through your hair. So I think that is a great thing, but this is only for people that are going to wear their hair curly and not wear their hair anywhere else, or any way else. And I know my sister always and only wears her hair curly. So yes, this would work for my sister, but a lot of my clients who have curly hair or wavy hair or corkscrew hair, whatever, they want the option of being able to smooth it out. So that's my theory. And I'm not poo-pooing this whole line. I'm really not. I think it is great. I think it would be amazing in places like New York, which I'm sure it is, where, you know, you could actually even have a salon just for curly hair girls. Because my sister, before she started coming to me, and I'm a little bit more educated than most on curly hair. I did a class on curly hair, all that. And it took her years and years to be able to find somebody that actually knew how to do curly hair, because there's all these rules when it comes to curly hair. You shouldn't be using a razor, you shouldn't be using a thinning shears, you should be doing, you know, you should be cutting more in the S curve, like, or C curve. Like, there's all these different rules, and I know people are probably like, well, even my sister said curly haired clients or curly haired girls will come up to her and say, who does your hair? Because a lot of times it's hard to find people that are really educated in curly hair. I feel like I'm repeating myself over and over and over again. Anyways, that is my product review on the whole thing. I'm going to say out of 10, I'd give it, actually the whole line, the smell, the whole thing of it, I'm going to give it an 8. But when it comes to the actual education part of it all, where she was telling us to use this much product, you got to lock in the moisture, you got to have it soft and wet, you got to do this, you got to do that, I'm going to say it was like a 3, because my sister seriously said that her hair felt greasy, and it did. So, you know, I'm only ever going to tell you honest opinions on here when it comes to product reviews and things like that. I'm not going to, you know, DevaCurl isn't paying me to do this or anything like that, but I'm going to give you my honest opinion. So, you know, most of the times when it comes to things like this, products and makeup and whatever, I'm going to give you my honest opinion, and that is my true honest opinion. Okay? Smells good. It does the trick. It's product over usage, and but it is a good theory. I think I have to read more when it comes to the Curly Girl handbook. But if you're only going to wear your hair curly and you don't mind having more of that sort of greasy, not greasy, but yeah, it did feel greasy, texture your hair, go for it. Do it if you want to use that much, but I'd say use a quarter of it. Okay, so that was that. Sorry that I just chatted your ear off for 13 minutes, but that's my honest opinion, right? I would have loved to do a actual tutorial on it, but unfortunately I could not find a, a tripod for the salon, and there was, it couldn't get the lighting figured out and stuff in there, and plus I didn't really have the time. So that's that. I love y'all very much. Let me know what you think of it, and I'll speak to you very soon. Please be kind to one another.